What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Hey man, check it out. I'm here in the studio with the Alesis and the Simmons drum set, the Crimson 2 and the SD1250 right here in the studio. And I'm about to break these things down and tell you which one I think is the better of the two and why you should buy one over the other. We're gonna go through a lot of stuff, so this video might get long. So right here, right now, on this channel, it's about to go down. So, you ready? Here we go. So I'm going to talk to you about these two drum sets, but I want to talk to you about it from a couple of different standpoints. Now I'm going to warn you in advance, this video could get a bit long. Hopefully it doesn't, but we're going to see. I'm going to try to edit it down is all I'm going to tell you. Now listen, with that being said, if you have not seen the video that I did that really talked about these just on paper, click the card above me and make sure that you check that video out, because I don't want to go into everything that I covered in that video is as in detail as I did there. So with that being said, let's talk about these two drum sets just on the face value of these two drum sets. So here's how it works. You walk into a Guitar Center, these two drum sets are both on sale for $1,100. So the question is, as I asked in the previous video, which one should I buy? They're both $1,100. So we take them out of the box, we get them home, we put them side by side, and we look at them. And now let's compare. And I want you to determine, based on what I tell you about this, which one that you think is the better buy. All right. So on my left, I have the Alesis Crimson 2. On my right, I have the Simmons SD1250. I'm going to talk to you about the cymbals first, because this is where they're exactly the same. After that, they start to bend a corner. So you both get two crashes, your ride cymbal and your hi-hat cymbal. You get that on both. Now, with both companies, they say that the cymbals are dual zone with the exception of the rides. The rides are both triple zone. One of the things that I do like the Simmons better than the Alesis on as it relates to the cymbals is that on the Alesis, you get that pie cut type cymbal thing, whereas you get a full rubber cymbal on the Simmons. If you're doing some type of cymbal crescendo, I like the idea of doing it like I would do it on a regular cymbal where I put my sticks on both sides. That's just me. You don't have to do that. You can do the same trick on one of these cymbals over here on the Alesis, but I do like the idea of having the full rubber cymbal, and you may find that to be the case too. That's just something that I like. Now, in addition to that, I do like that the bells on the ride over here is a lot thicker than the ride over here, giving you a little bit more room to play it and play around with it. They're both triple zone, and they both, all of the cymbals have the choke ability on it. I almost forgot the word. You can choke. So with that being said, in that regard, they're very much similar, with the exception of the full rubber cymbal on the Simmons. Now, the stands themselves, the actual cage that you get. I want to talk about that because one of the comments that I keep getting is that they're a little wobbly, and I want to explain why electric drums are like that, especially, well, it really doesn't matter at what price point, but they're going to be wobbly. The main reason is that if you look at a drum set, you just have much more heavy duty stands, legs and all these different things. And if you set up an acoustic drum set and touch the two toms that are racked into the bass drum, they may and sometimes move. They will move. So it's going to wobble a little bit there, but it just seems a little bit different on here that the whole cage can actually shake. I will say this, neither one of them is going to just fall over, even though you may feel like they will. They're not going to just fall over. So you don't have to worry about that. Which cage do I think is a better cage? I don't know. I like some things about, once I got the Alesis in, the clamp system that they use on there that opens all the way up so that you can actually wrap the clamp around the stand. I really like that. It's kind of the same on the Simmons, except you actually have to take it completely apart. So that part, I can tell you that the Alesis is easier to adjust in that way, because you can just slide, whether sliding it down the tube or rocking it back and forth on the tube, you can do that a lot easier than you can on the Simmons drum. Okay, so that much I can say in that regard. I definitely like that about the Alesis over the Simmons. I wonder which is going to be a better, the hexagon shape or the circular shape over time. I don't know which one is going to be better, because it doesn't actually grip on. I wonder if it would strip and eventually not hold as good as, say, the one on the hexagon on the Simmons. Don't know, but it is a question that, like I said, it comes up. And yeah, so I'm not certain out on that. I don't know which one I like more. I think I like them both equally in that regard, and I think they both have their own merits. So now let's talk about something that's not exactly the same, and that is what you get as it relates to toms. On the Alesis, you get two 8-inch toms and one 10-inch tom for your floor tom, and you get a 12-inch snare. On the Simmons, you get two 8s and you get two 10-inch toms. So you get a total of 4, whereas you only get 3 on the other. So if we're at $1,100, that means that I have to buy the extra tom to match what I get over here already in the box. So I'm gonna be out about another $100. What's going on, y'all? I needed to step in here in real time for you. So I just said on screen that you have to go and buy the extra tom to put on the Alesis drum kit. Here's what I've discovered at the time of recording this video is that the Alesis does not actually show available a tom for the Crimson 2 available separately. You would either have to buy the Nitro Mesh kit or the one underneath that, which comes with an extra cymbal that you can't plug in and a tom, or you would have to contact Alesis direct and get hold of the Strike Pro drum or even one above that, and they do not show the price. So I do not know the price, unfortunately, but as far as I can tell, you cannot buy it separately for the Crimson 2. Just want to let you guys know that. Let me talk about these snares. On the Simmons, they changed the pickup on there. They put the RJ45 connector on there, and they added an extra pickup in there so you get 2. Whereas on the Alesis, they left the regular 1/4-inch connector on there to connect into your module, but you get 4 pickups inside of it, which, wow, that's a lot. And I can tell you this, I cannot say which snare picks up better than the other, whether having 2 or 4. You would think having 4 would just immediately make it better, but I cannot say in my early givings, in my early checking it out, I cannot say that it is drastically better than the one that's on the Simmons. However, I can say comparing the Simmons SD1250 to the Simmons SD600, there's a difference. You can tell that the snare picks up a lot better on the 1250. So there is that. As it relates to which one picks up better between the Alesis and the 1250, the Alesis Crimson and the 1250 by Simmons, I'm gonna need a little bit more time to play on these before I can make that determination. Now, when it comes to the kick drum, I will say that the kick drum on the Simmons is small, okay, versus the 8-inch version that is on the Alesis, which means that if I'm gonna play double bass, which this guy does not, the Alesis is gonna be better for it. Now, I will say that I've heard, some people say that they have been able to get double bass to fit on the Simmons. I do not know how true that is or how they were able to accomplish it, but so I'm gonna have to play around and figure that out. So if you're playing double bass, you may need to get some other setup, or you may even have to buy a kick pedal from Alesis if you want to do it on the Simmons drum because you want to use the module or whatever it is. But a basic setup, I don't know that to be true yet, and I'm gonna have to go to Guitar Center and check that out and see. But I can tell you this, having that bigger drum is gonna give you more room. I've seen it set up and it definitely works. So in that, yeah, I think the Alesis is ahead on that, having that bigger bass drum. Next, I want to talk about something that's a little more superficial, but I still think it needs to be said. I love the way the red pops on the Alesis drum set. With that being said, I really wish that the Alesis drum set was as thick as the, in depth, was as thick as the Simmons drum set, because the Simmons drum set, you can actually see the red, whereas even sitting right here, because it's so thin, I can't actually see it until I lean way down. I can't see it. Now, that doesn't really matter to how it plays. This, again, I said it's very superficial. But let's say we go out and we're gonna do a gig. I think that Alesis spent a lot of time, let me see if I can rip this off of here, putting this together, so that when you're playing their drum set and someone's sitting in front of it, they can see that you're playing on the Alesis set. And that is a great thing. Hey, advertisement is always great. But here's my thing. They went through all of that trouble to make this little clip that serves no purpose other than advertisement. And then the thing that makes this drum set gorgeous, the red, they put it in an itty bitty package. And now I can't see it. So let's say I'm out gigging, someone's in the audience, they're doing this, they're losing their eyesight, they gotta get binoculars to see that beautiful red on my drum set. You know, I ain't saying that you could have spent that money making it thicker instead of doing this. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying you could have spent that money making it thicker instead of. Now, with that being said, let me pick on Simmons. Simmons went to this gray, and I think up close this gray looks great. However, again, from a distance, it just kind of disappears. I think that if Simmons would have stuck with that blue, which I understand why they did it, you got to differentiate your product. I get it. Could we have gone red? Could we have gone purple? Could we have gone any other color other than maple? Anything that would make it pop? Could we have done something like that? Next time, guys over there, man, call me up. I'll do the design for the drums, you know, the aesthetic part. Y'all do the technicals. I'll make it look good. So I just think that it looks great, but I think that it could look better if it had a different color. Especially since from a distance, I can actually see what it looks like. Now, I ain't saying once you get so far away you can, but I'm saying it is a lot easier to see, even up close. I don't even have to really bend to see what color that is. But this, man, I know, very, very superficial, doesn't matter. Let's move on. The modules. Now, when I say the modules, I'm not going to talk about sounds at this point because I think sounds is a completely separate deal. But let's talk about the modules themselves. Now, I've made a big stink over the modules, and I'm going to continue to make a big stink about these modules. I think that Alesis went the wrong way with this module, making that module is straight out of the 80s, straight Game Boy edition module, whereas the Alesis has this beautiful color screen. And here's the thing, if I'm not mistaken, color screens come on some Alesis drum sets. Some of the higher end drum sets have the color screen, but they could have done that on this. In this price range, if I'm going to compare my module to the next module and I look on the box and I see this monochrome red straight out of the 80s Game Boy edition module versus this color almost iPhone, Apple Watch module, yeah, I'm going to look at this one more. Speaking of which, my Apple Watch is almost the same size as the little cutout that they have over here on this. And which brings me to another point. The way I needed to set this up, I needed to move the module to the inside. Since we're talking about modules, one of the things that I do not like about that module is the way they have it all connected. I thought I wasn't gonna like it, and now I definitely don't. Because of how this is set up and how I wanted to move it so that this felt good for me, that module, I can't turn it and angle it. I can slide it down the pole, but I can't turn it or angle it in this corner. So with that being said, it's in a bad position for me and I can't do it. Now maybe I can move it somewhere else on the drum set, but still, if I'm gonna kind of leave it set up the way they designed it, yeah, no, I can't, because that module is just not designed. That connection on the bottom and the inability to shift and it's just not. So check it out. When it comes time to modify the sounds, if I want to move something or change something, if I want to change the areas that hit and how they sound, then you have to go into the module to do it. Now, with the color screen, it's going to be a lot easier to understand with the other one. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't saying that it's difficult. I'm just saying that it did feel a little bit easier with the color screen. On the flip, there's one more thing that made the Simmons just stand out, and that is the app. Now, unfortunately, if you have an Android phone, they do not make an app for the Android phone. The iPhone, the application gives you the ability to do on your phone or on a tablet everything that you need to do right on the tablet. You can modify everything right there and make your life really, really simple. On the Alesis, there is no app for this. You have to use the module. You have to do everything in the module. You can't, there's no app. It's $1,100. I can't put my phone, I can't connect my phone in that way. I can't do any of that. And I've been looking to see if you could, and you can't. So yeah, no app or no app capabilities at all. All right, let's move on. On my Simmons SD600, I had a problem with it, and the MIDI cable wasn't working when I connected to my computer. So until I got a new cable, I was in the middle of recording, I needed to connect via Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth MIDI. This thing, the SD1250, actually I think the entire line of Simmons drums has Bluetooth connectivity for MIDI. And you know what? It actually works pretty well, and it surprised me because, as you know, MIDI for Bluetooth has a lot of lag, but you can get around that in your DAW. You can turn it on and make it work properly. And I did it and recorded, and the song is actually on iTunes and Spotify and all that right now, and it was recorded using Bluetooth MIDI, and it worked well. So what I'm telling you is, the thing about this, if you in Bluetooth MIDI, in that sense, going to your DAW, you can actually do that on here. In addition, you can Bluetooth to your phone, you can Bluetooth to your tablet. So I can actually record and play songs and do different things via Bluetooth right through the drum set itself, and have it kick out over the speaker, and all of that right from Bluetooth on the Simmons drum. Now, I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it yet and you got the Simmons drum, you need to check it out. It is actually very impressive, especially if you're going to record. Even if you never use it, it's good to know you got it. Okay, if you push come to shove, you can. Flipping over to the Alesis, no Bluetooth connectivity like that. You cannot do that. All right, so if you can, somebody tell me you can and tell me how to do it, because I ain't found it yet. That to me is a definite letdown. We got two drum sets, exact same price, and there's no Bluetooth connectivity, no Bluetooth MIDI, no app. I think bang for your buck, dollar pound per pound, the Simmons SD1250 is a much better buy than the Alesis Crimson 2. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that this is a slouch. I'm just saying at the same price, I'm going that way.